Welcome to Lavanya's computer classes. In this video, I will explain ER model. ER model is the one best example for data model. So what is data model means? Data model means modeling data, that is to give a shape or structure to the database. So what is data model means? Data model is a model that is used for representing. It gives some information about shape or structure of the database, how the database looks like, what is the structure of the database. This is everything is explained in the data model. The data model makes it easier to understand the meaning of the data by its structure. If we just see the structure of the database, then immediately we can understand what type of data and what is the structure, what are the fields are available, everything is in the database. So that is explained by the data model. In the data model, so many models are there, but now I'll explain one best, most widely used data model is ER model. So what is ER model? ER. The ER model is known as entity relationship model. E means entity, R means relationship model. ER model means entity relationship model. It is the most widely used data model. So whenever we are designing any database, we are using ER model. It is also referred as high level conceptual data model. High level conceptual data model. The main purpose of developing ER model is to support the user's view about the data and to hide the implementation details associated with database design. In ER model, E means entity and R means relationship. So in this video, I'll just explain what are the components of ER diagrams only. So what is E and what is R? R means relationship and E means entity. These two are the diagrammatic representation of entire database design. So the diagrammatic representation of any ER model, that is called as ER relationship diagram. So it is the diagrammatic representation of logical structure of the database. Logical structure of the database. It is a diagrammatic representation. That's why we need some symbols. Graphical representation we need. So data model means so many data models are there. In this one model is ER model. E means entity, R means relationship diagram. So it is explains only logical structure of the database with entities and relationships. But it does not explain anything how it will be implemented. Implementation details is hide. So now we'll go for basic components of ER diagrams, ER model. Basic components means here mostly the three basic components are there. One is entities. Second one is attributes. Third one is relationship. Entities, attributes, relationship. These three are called as basic components of ER diagrams. So E for entity means E, relationship means R. That's what is called as ER diagram. Now we'll explain first component of ER diagram, that is entity. So what is entity means? An entity is a real world object. An entity is a real world object. Real world object that is distinguishable from other objects. It is distinguishable from other objects. So everything is known as an entity. Real world object. In the real world object, apple, mango, student, employee, person, everything is known as entity. So in ER diagram, already we explained ER diagram means in the ER diagram it's a diagrammatic representation. So in the diagrammatic representation, everything is in the form of a diagram. So it is represented by a symbol. So what is the symbol used for representing entity means that is a rectangle. So rectangle is a symbol. It is used for representing an entity. So what is entity means? Entity is a real world object. In ER diagram, rectangle shape is used for representing the entity. For example, student. Student is an entity. It is a real world object. So how can you write the student in the entity diagram? So student is an entity means we just represent like this. Inside that rectangle box we just write the name of the entity set. Person. Person means person is the name of the entity. How can you represent means inside the rectangle box we just write like this. So this is the representation of an entity. Now we go for entity set. So what is an entity set means collection or set of entities is known as entity set. Collection of all entities is known as entity set. So this is also entity set because it is a collection of entities. Collection of entity means one real word object. So if you are collecting so many objects, one student is called as one entity. Collection of all students is called as entity set. So this is the representation of entity set. Okay. Now we'll go for next component is attribute. What is the attribute? What is attribute means uniquely recognizable. So what is attribute means a single value in the entity is known as attribute. Single value in the entity is known as attribute. Unique value, individual value is known as attribute. The unique value of an attribute is known as key also. The attribute in the attribute, which one is unique values, which attribute contains unique values, that attribute is also known as key. So in ER diagram, which symbol is used for representing a attribute means that is ellipse. Ellipse is used for representing attribute. So rectangle is for entity set, ellipse is for attribute. For example, student. Already the previous videos I explained student table. How a student table is there is like this. It is the student table. The student table contains the fields like the serial number, student name, years and marks. Already in the previous videos I already explained. This is the table structure, database structure. Table means collection of rows and columns. So these all are known as fields. These all are known as fields and horizontal lines. These horizontal lines are called as rows or records. Already in the previous video I already put this database concept. So in this field, individual value is called as field. Field is nothing but an attribute in ER diagram. Similarly, row. Row means record. One row is called as a record. The record is nothing but an entity. Single entity. Table. Student table. Table is nothing but an entity set. So this is the relational data model. In the relational data model we are using these words and this is the ER model. Data models are different but concept is same but terminology is different. In the relational model we are a field, record, table. Field means individual value, record means one row, table means collection of records. In ER model, attribute, entity, entity set. Entity set is nothing but a table, entity is known as record, attribute is known as field. So attribute is representing this one. Next one is relationship. Relationship. So what is the relationship? Means relationship is known as the association. Association or relationship between two entities. Entity sets, between two entity sets or between any two entities, whatever the relationship, what is the association between two entity sets is called as a relationship. A collection of similar relationship is known as a relationship set. Is known as a relationship set. So these are the some proper words we are used in the ER diagram. Entity, entity set. Entity, entity set. Attribute, relationship, relationship sets. Okay. So what is ER model means? ER model is an data model, diagrammatic representation of logical structure of the database. What are the components of ER diagram means? Entity, entity set, attribute, relationship, relationship set. And diagrammatic representation, rectangle is used for entity set. This one, ellipse is used for attribute. And relationship, for relationship we are using rhombus. This is used for relationship diagram. These are the basic components. In the next video, I will explain what is the different types of entity sets, different types of attributes, and different types of relationships, and what are the remaining symbols are used in ER diagram. Thank you for watching my video. If you like this video, please share my video and subscribe my channel and like it and share it. Thank you.